coming at you with another NEBOSH tutorial and pass it back to Shadrack Safety Institute. This NEBOSH Diploma in Occupational Safety and syllabus, as well as on your textbooks. It is heading for Chapter 5. Let's get into this. So, summary of the session: biological agents. Explain the types and properties of biological agents found at work. Explain the assessment and control of risk from deliberate and non-deliberate exposure to biological agents at work. Now, we wouldn't really get into this second bullet point. There's quite a lot of biological agents, as you would see from your syllabus, so we would not even be able to finish all the start of the first PowerPoint anyway, the first point there. Types and properties of biological agents. So we have a definition of biological agents, and there are quite a few of these. Includes microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, parasites, cell cultures, and endoparasites, providing they have one or more harmful properties. Agents that cause diseases. These are all definitions of biological agents. Can be saprophytic, live freely in decaying matter. Can be parasitic, live in or on hosts, both animals and humans. Can be commensal, live in harmony with a host, and some bacteria do that. Good bacteria, for example, the ones you have in your stomach, your gut, etc. Could be pathogenic, produce diseases in a host. Biological agents are classified into 4: severity of the disease, the risk of infection will spread to the community, the availability of vaccines and effective treatment. Rickettsia and chlamydia, viruses, fungi, yeast and molds, protozoa. So most of us know these already, I guess. What you have to know is that these are all different in terms of structure, in terms of cell structure, right? Which I wouldn't get into. Bacteria basically have some form of a cell structure. Viruses don't have much of a cell structure. Fungi, more or less thread-like, right? Protozoa, more or less like a cell anyway, right? Rickettsia, more or less, is a class of microorganisms that could include viruses and bacteria, but they are more or less specialized, so they have been given their own categories of biological agent. Fungi, multicellular organisms that reproduces by spores, can be found in cellulose fibers of sugarcane, in damp, warm, moist, dark places, usually airborne as a means of transmission. Harmful fungi can include yeast, affects the skin or mucous membranes, can result in Candida albicans, which causes thrush. Moles, aspergilla, found in hay and is also responsible for hay fever, right? Not too much of exam questions here. I have seen one or two on hay fever, but really much older past papers anyway, right? Types and sources of biological agents: fungi, thrush, fungi on the hand, etc. Bacteria now, same heading. Types and sources of biological agents consists of a single cell organism without a proper nucleus. Harmful types, referred to as pathogens, can be transmitted from pathogens that do that are referred to as zoonoses, which is those that could be transmitted from animals to humans. It means ingested and puncturing of the skin, causes diseases as they produce toxins harmful to the human body. So you have bacteria, example, the E. coli, and especially now we all know about, the need for, covering your mouth, your nose, etc. Right? Millions of droplets normally would be expelled when someone coughs or sneezes, and of course they could have, your viruses and your bacteria, etc. in them. Bacteria again can be passed from human to human from inside of a host. Sorry, my mistake there. Viruses, right? No basic cell structure. I may have gone a bit too fast, right? Sorry, yeah. So can be passed from humans to human. Cholera and salmonella, some typical examples of bacteria. Animals to humans, urine of the rats. Environment to human, Legionella pneumophilia, which is the name of a bacteria that's found like in warmer waters anyway. Anything around like 55 degrees Celsius can affect the genitourinary, endocrine, and gastrointestinal systems. Viruses, no basic cell structure and only cause harm if inside of a host. Causes common cold, HIV, rabies, and of course the list goes on now. H1N1 and the coronavirus, right? Enter all or via all routes of entry into the human body. Viruses invades the body and disrupt cell function. Some interact retroviruses with chromosomes, replacing a DNA strand of your DNA, your basic structure, with one of its own strands, and those are called the RNA strands, is what would replace the DNA strands anyway. Right? Viruses may affect a specific target organ. HIV attacks white blood cells called lymphocytes. You have things, for example, like the novel coronavirus now affecting, for example, things like the respiratory system, etc. Right? Special properties of biological agents, about maybe 4 or 5 of these. All biological agents go through an incubation period, and of course this could range from a number of days to a number of weeks anyway. Right? During the incubation period, the biological agent spread throughout the body or to one specific target organ. Another properties are they are infection, or they are infectious. Results from disease being contagious as it spread from one person to another. Infection passes through the modes of transmission: airborne, absorption, contact. Examples include tuberculosis, influenza, scabies. There are about 216 infectious diseases in the world, and perhaps maybe a little bit more with the novel coronavirus anyway. Another property of biological agents, the agents can multiply rapidly to millions in a few hours. Fungi and bacteria are found at all times in the human body, but are prevented from rapid multiplication by the competition from good bacteria that you may have in your body. Zoonotic diseases, as I mentioned this before, these are diseases transmitted from animals to humans. So animal infection that may be transmitted to people in the course of their work. Anthrax, brucellosis, which is what you can get that from animals such as cattle, right? Cows and whatever have you. Occupational zoonotic diseases are most common where there is close contact between animals and humans at work. I'm trying to just keep on tracking the time. Examples include animal husbandry, agricultural occupations, outdoor leisure industry or the wastewater industry, and lab workers. Common zoonotic diseases: animal influenza, swine flu, which is what we call H1, cryptosporidiosis, malaria, psittacosis, leptospirosis, and West Nile viruses. There are about 200 zoonotic diseases. So I guess I just wanted to get into the lesson anyway because it's so much, but all of these are past paper questions, right? I do have one at the end of this video again, but again, it's not all, it's just one that can fit in the time that we have there, right? But each of these has come for exam before: leptospirosis, psittacosis, malaria, cryptosporidiosis. Just for the January 2020 Unit B paper is online, right? I don't think I have it on this computer, right? So you can probably go back. I did look at it, but I can't remember what was the disease that was on it. So about website, try to look at it. I can't honestly remember what disease came in January 2020, right? But it's normally one from the list anyway, right? So you can have a look at that. I have one planned, right, which is not really on a disease. It's just like general precautions when you are around, biological agents anyway, right? So just a reminder to get on the NEBOSH website if these times does never allow me to do that, but maybe in a subsequent video I can probably download it and have a look at it anyway, right? Animal influenza, Influenza E viruses are found in many different animals, including ducks, chickens, pigs, whales, horses, and seals. Influenza A viruses are divided into two subtypes based on two proteins on the surface of the virus, the hemagglutinin H and the neuraminidase N, right? H1N1 from the two proteins there affects people, dogs, swines, and of course we get, well, the common name there, swine flu. Influenza A common symptoms include, remember this is the common cold anyway, a high fever, runny nose, sore throat, muscle pain, headaches, coughing and feeling tired, fever, myalgia, headaches, severe malaise, non-reproductive cough, sore throat, and rhinitis, right? So quite a lot of these are common with the common cold. Myalgia, also the muscle pains connecting the bones. You have malaise, which is just a general feeling of tiredness anyway, right? So a good diagram of it here, symptoms of influenza. Let's see if it goes back. Headaches, right? High fever, extreme tiredness, joint pains, vomiting, coughing, sore throat, right? Runny or stuffy nose, right? Symptoms of swine flu: runny nose, sore throat, coughing, fever, lethargy. One with all the common colds anyway that we have all had. Control of animal influenza. Risk assessment required. Of course, this is more for the companies. Proper sanitation of work area. Proper and effective animals if possible. Use proper PPE. And of course, this would have to be defined if they were to ask us as to what is proper PPE. Vaccination if one is available. Isolation and segregation. Containment and closure. Change of work methods. Zoonotic diseases, cryptosporidiosis to the back here, caused by a parasite protozoa, also called C. pavum. And again, just to let you remember from the slide before that these are all different causative agents. A bacteria is different from a virus, which is different from a protozoa, right? So the thing about it is that most diseases caused by bacteria have a cure. You have like antibacterial drugs, right? So most that are caused by a fungi or a protozoa, they do have a cure. Most, including the common cold that is caused by viruses, do not have a cure, which is why we are in the present state of lockdown anyway, right? So this one, the cryptosporidiosis, caused by a parasite protozoa, meaning that there would be a cure for this, right? Or there would be effective treatment for this anyway. Infection spread from wild animals and domesticated animals by possible oasis, right? That's how you pronounce this word. Passed in the feces, which can contaminate drinking water. Resistant to chlorine and disinfectant used to treat water. Persons with weakened immune system can suffer from chronic diarrhea. With medical treatment, infection will subside. Cryptosporidiosis can affect the following occupations: water treatment workers, farm workers, zoo workers, show farm workers, agricultural workers, land management workers, divers, swimmers who may ingest contaminants. So if you get some time, look at the participles. I think one that I remember now would have been one with a surf shop, right? That you have on the beaches anyway, and they had asked some aspect of it like that. I hope I'm not mixing it up with leptospirosis, but there are a lot of questions out there that can talk about ideas like divers and swimmers being exposed to contaminated water anyway, right? So water treatment workers, etc. So you can have a look at that. They are all older participles, which is what Nibosh likes, the older one, right? So you can have a look at these. In the old participles, each posed to protozoa again, right? So we can move on. The mic up just about 3 times there, and it it may have stopped again, right? Let's see if we can move on. So zoonotic diseases, cryptosporidiosis rules include boiling water before drinking, using a high or a higher concentration of chlorine and ozone for treatment for a longer time, practice good hygiene and sanitation, washing hands in sexual activity that would expose one to feces, avoid contact with animal feces, use of antiparasitic drugs. Malaria caused by the Plasmodium falciparum species of the parasite carried by the Anopheles mosquito. Let me get back that slide there for you. Which feeds on humans. Malaria can also be transmitted through blood transfusion. It's noticing that apparently some of the slides were not corresponding with the audio. Spent about the last 10 minutes trying to sort that out in the background there, right? So I want to move on to bloodborne viruses. So bloodborne diseases can be spread through contamination. Let's try to get that one back. By blood and other body fluids. The most common examples are HIV, hepatitis B, viral hemorrhagic fevers, bloodborne pathogens, microorganisms that are present in blood or other potentially infectious material, OPIM, and can cause diseases. Biological agents, bloodborne viruses. Blood include human blood components, products made from human blood, and also medications derived from blood. Example: immune globulins and albumins, etc. All of these are referred to as OPIMs, other potentially infectious materials. Biological agents, bloodborne viruses. Transmission of blood-borne viruses can occur through contaminated instrument injuries, a break in the skin, cut, lesion, etc. Muscle, mucous membrane, eye, nose, mouth, other modes that you could think about, right? Biological agents, hepatitis. Causative agent is a virus. Virus attacks the liver, becomes inflamed, enlarged, and tenderness will follow. Acute and chronic infections, possible liver damage ranging from mild to fatal. The liver is the large dark red organ located in the upper right abdomen behind the lower ribs. Hepatitis A is spread by ingesting the virus from the feces of an infected person, from eating raw or uncooked or undercooked shellfish harvested from contaminated water. Symptoms include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, jaundice, fever, and abdominal pains. Acute liver failure may occur. Hepatitis A may be prevented by vaccination, good hygiene, and sanitation. Here we have a look at the incubation period of most of the hepatitis B, right? You can have a look at that. No need to learn any figures that you see there. Hepatitis B can be found in blood stools, urine, tears, saliva, sweat, bile, and seminal fluid. Symptoms can include flu-like symptoms, fatigue, abdominal pains, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting, pain, joint pains, jaundice, right? And the picture does do justice there. Hepatitis B is a class 3 biological agent. Hepatitis, right, custom officers in the end there. And include destroying the virus using bleach, flavin, which is basically heat, and proper use of PPE, disposal gloves, precaution. So precaution is like someone has the disease. So universal precaution is that you assume someone has, and you take all the precautions known for sure that they had it anyway. Treatment: no vaccine available. 1% to 5% of cancer or cirrhosis of the liver. Right, biological agents, hepatitis C. Symptoms: flu-like symptoms, jaundice, fatigue, dark urine, abdominal pains, loss of appetite, nausea. biological agents, hepatitis C, mode of transmission, injection, drug use, hemodialysis, long-term blood transfusion and or organ transplant before 1992, from infected mothers to child during birth, occupation and exposure to blood, mostly needle stick, sexual or household exposure, which would be pretty rare. Right? The reason before 1992 the whole law anyway, right? So that's where you, right? So after 92 it would have been dead. To do over this whole setting anyway. Clicking one way, it's going the other way. Biological agent hepatitis C, HCV is not spread by kissing, hugging, sneezing, coughing, food or water, sharing, eating utensils or drinking glasses, or casual contact. The chance of getting infected from transfused blood or blood products is less than 1 per million units. Prison officers, ambulance staff, police and custom officers. Hepatitis D is also known as Delta hepatitis, is a liver infection caused by hepatitis D virus, HDV. Hepatitis D only occurs amongst hepatitis B vaccine. Hepatitis B virus, because HDV is an incomplete virus that requires the helper function of the HBV to replicate. The vaccine for hepatitis B protects against hepatitis D virus because of the latter's dependence on the presence of hepatitis B virus for it to replicate. Perhaps the most common one, HIV, attacks the human body's immune system. Many have no symptoms or mild flu-like symptoms. Most infected with HIV develop AIDS. Incubation period 10 to 12 years for some anyway. Opportunistic infection and AIDS-related diseases, TB, could result of a compromised immune system. Kaposi sarcoma, oral thrush or candidiasis. Treatments are limited, but there is no cure. HIV transmission, sexual contact with infected person, sharing needles and or syringes from HIV infected women to their babies during pregnancy or delivery, breastfeeding, needle stick. HIV occupational transmission, needle stick injuries during the taking of blood, sharp injuries when dealing with samples, dentists, doctors, nurses, care workers and professionals that deal with what I want to do, I want to stop around here, right? The reason is that it's gonna get into the half an hour though, right? And I'm not even sure if I'm gonna use this recording, right? So I'll stop it at the Legionnaires disease. I have a past paper. I'll try to kind of salvage what I could of this recording, right? So I'll take it from the Legionnaires disease in another session. Let me just see if we can bring up the past paper, because the past paper was on blood-borne viruses, right? So as we finish with that part, it may make sense to stop and take a look at that, and then just to keep it in the time frame anyway, right? Right, so if you have these, again, these are I think on the website, right? I'll probably have to go and get it anyway, given the slow rate of this. Let me see if I can probably stop it and see if I can continue once we have what we have. Right, so this is 2017, right? Past paper, and I think it's number 2. So this is a nice one, and there's so much of specialized questions anyway that talks about the different types of biological agents, but this is such a generalized one, right? thought this to be a pretty good one in terms of, just get this. I guess you'll consider that still anyway, right? So let me try to get it just a tad bit bigger again. Right, could be question 2. A contractor is carrying concern that the employees may be exposed to viruses such as HIV and hepatitis. Consider why these employees may be exposed to blood-borne viruses. Some of these employees could use as part of the control measure for this work, right? So a contractor is required to carrying out clearance work in a number of cases. This is sort of easy go anyway, because you can get it from the paragraph in itself. It is really derelict houses, right? So you have to consider that there may be abandoned sharp objects in those buildings anyway. It may have had, of course it did mention HIV and hepatitis as well, right? So it may have been that those buildings could have been used by the homeless, etc. Let's see what they have here to kind of end the session. So this question: assess candidates' knowledge and understanding of the learning outcome 5.1. Let me just go down to the answer bit, right? Answer in part A, candidates were expected to consider that there was a possibility presence may accidentally come to jobs. This explanation of why should also demonstrate the candidate's understanding of the possibility, right? So part B was limited to an outline of economics. Vague references to PP were not credited, and instead candidate proven suggestions using bin bags for the waste demonstrated a lack of understanding of the risk that rigid containers were for the waste, as well as specific sharp containers for the shops, and the overall performance was reasonable, right? Right, because the app just kept on dropping more and more and more, right? I'm not quite sure how it will sound, so I'll try a bit of minor editing on this one anyway, to see if we can salvage this one. I'm seeing just about half an hour they're recording, but it has been more than an hour here, doing over certain parts and trying to get the best out of it anyway, right? Just I guess though, I guess on the positive side of it, that to me this was not a very hard lesson. This is chapter 5 is one that people do tend to like, right? It's straightforward. All you have to do is really learn the diseases anyway, right? I try to bring up some here again on this slide, right? But a lot of folks do like this chapter when it comes to the exam anyway, right? I mean, not all will come, and you have a good chance of predicting them once you stick to your syllabus and see what would have been the latest one that came anyway, right? So not too much of a difficult chapter, as chapter 4 was more monitoring performance and all of those pieces of equipment and calculation and stuff. Quite a pretty simple chapter anyway, right? And just to have a go at this in your textbook or on the slides would make it much more worthwhile, right? So let me just close up this one. I'm really not too happy with the functioning of the system here, but it does that on certain days anyway. The last one I had a good go without any interruption. This one had endless interruptions anyway, right? So all the best. I would see what I can do to get this one presentable, right? And I'll see you all back next week for another video and tutorial session. All the best. Bye.